Show me something.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Show Me Something podcast. My name is Abby.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Will.
And I'm Trevor.
And this week I showed the boys the 2015 hit Broadway musical Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton.
First guest
And we got our
episode.
first guest, boys.
I got him.
Yeah, first guest episode. It's very exciting. It could be nobody else other than Abby, quite honestly.
Thank you. I'm honored to be the first guest. I'm
Honored to
excited.
have you.
Hopefully
Honored to
first
have
of
you.
many.
For sure.
So yeah, this musical is basically obviously about Alexander Hamilton and his life. It's based on a book by Ron Chernow, he wrote an autobiography about, or a biography about Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
I've heard good things
Yeah.
about Chernow. I don't know anything about biographies, but apparently he's like a very good biographer.
Yes.
Biography.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if you were going to throw a weird syllable in there or something. But yeah, it's cool. I've heard about this for so long, and I think we kind of knew Abby was going to bring this as her first thing.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite musicals.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it was really huge a couple of years ago when it first came out, and now it's back on people's minds because it finally premiered on Disney Plus. So people like us can finally see it. You know, not aristocrats that live in New York City.
Or people
I
who are
was,
obsessed
I mean, Go ahead, Trevor. I'm sorry.
with... Yeah, or people that are, like, obsessed with musicals that would actually go to New York to watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
Abby.
AKA me.
yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see the original cast run?
I did, but it was only because my roommate at the time won the lottery, so we got tickets for $10.
Fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah. Front
Yeah.
row. No big deal.
And it was
Damn.
before that recording, right?
Yeah, I saw it. The Disney Plus recording was recorded over 3 days in, I think, June of 2016, and I saw it in January 2016.
Gotcha.
Before the curve.
Oh, interesting. It was recorded over 3 days.
Yeah, I think that I read 2 of the recordings took place with live audiences so that the actors could feed off the audience, and then they did certain shots, I think, without an audience.
Yeah, that makes sense because there was some cut. Like I noticed there were some camera cuts that didn't make any sense because there was a camera right here in their face and then another one right here in their face that would have been a cross shot. So I was like, oh, they must have just. I didn't really think about it, but it makes sense to know that they did it over a couple of days.
There was a couple of really tight close-ups that I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that must have sucked for the audience that was at this recording.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
So-
pretty sure that when they filmed it with the live audience, it said that they just put cameras in the audience, so any close-up shots would have been the time when it was no audience.
Yeah, that
Makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
But
But I'm excited to hear what you guys think, because I love it. So how did you guys feel about it?
Jacob?
Yeah, so I had known about Hamilton for a long time, obviously dating Abby. I had listened to a lot of the songs before, especially Guns and Chips. I'd listened to a bunch of times because that song's a banger. But I had never seen the play. We never got a chance to go see it when it came here or anything because the tickets were super expensive still. But yeah, I was excited to watch it, and then we watched it earlier today, in the morning, and I thought it was all right. I thought it was fine. I'm just not. I'm just not a theater person. I don't get captivated by theater performances usually. Musicals or regular theater. It's just like I can't immerse myself in it. It doesn't feel real enough to me like I can when I watch movies or TV when I'm not thinking about them being actors. I don't know. I just can't get immersed for some reason. Seeing productions like that. I mean, they're fun. They're really dope, and the writing is great. The music was really awesome, and the performances were really sweet. But I just couldn't. I don't know. I just wasn't super entertained. I wish I was. I wanted to be more entertained. But yeah. So because of that, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I think that's where I'm sitting.
That's fair.
What about you guys?
You want to go, Trev?
Well, okay, yeah, I'll go. Screw it. I don't think I've ever seen a Broadway performance or a live theater thing before. And if I have, it was not enough to make me remember it, I guess. This, though, I was pleasantly surprised, honestly. it's very long. It's very long, and so there were
Theater, man.
quite a few times that I was like, wow, how much more?
Well, and I will
of
say
it-
that the length of it is, like, I noticed, obviously, watching it on Disney Plus, that it felt way longer, obviously, than if you were to see it in person. Because in person, at least to me, it kind of, like, flew by. But when you're just sitting on your couch watching it normally, it does feel much longer than it would have been, like, in the theater.
Yeah, it felt
That's
super
fair.
long.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, otherwise I was not expecting to enjoy it. I did go in trying my best to have an open mind, but I was not expecting to enjoy it. But I did. I actually did enjoy watching it. It was kind of cool. Something I'd never really experienced. Only a couple of things took me out of it. Kind of like, like some of the performers playing multiple parts kind of threw me off a couple of times, where I was like, wait, is that the same guy that was just this other guy? And it was, because I guess is that how Broadway works sometimes, where they just
I mean, sometimes the only other instance of that I can think of is that I'm pretty sure in the theater production of Peter Pan, I think Captain Hook and Wendy's dad are traditionally played by the same actor.
I mean, that kind of
and
makes
it's, like,
sense narrative, like
Well, it's to like show that she's afraid of growing up and whatever. This one, it's, I think, more so they're not supposed to be. They have parallels, like each actor who plays two characters do have parallels, but they're kind of like opposites instead. So like, what's her name? The girl who played Jasmine Jones, I think her name is. She played Peggy Schuyler and Maria Reynolds, and it's kind of like in the first act, that's the one Schuyler's sister showed that he doesn't really fall in love with, and in the other second half, it's the one girl that he does fall in love with. But each character still has some sort of love for him.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so that made a lot more.
Yeah.
That
So
makes
I
a
think
lot more
it's that kind of
sense
thing where
later.
they're trying to show.
Okay, I was more thinking like his
Yeah.
son and the other guy, just like at one point.
Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Well,
like
that's
doing
because
like a
I
recap
think-
of characters, and he's like, Lawrence and my son, and he just spins to, like, I guess signify that he's
He
being
spun
two
around,
different
yeah.
people, and I'm like, okay, sure, that was a little odd, but overall,
Well, and I think.
nope, what, go for it.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that one. I think is just because like, and they say it in the opening song. At the opening song, they basically say like that actor who plays Lawrence and Philip. His name's Anthony Ramos, and in the opening song, he says, "Me, I died for him," and both of his characters died for him. Same thing with the girl who plays Peggy and Mariah Reynolds. She said, "Me, I loved him," and both loved him in different ways. And the who's the other one? Oh, Jefferson and Lafayette. They said, "Me, I fought with him," and one meant fighting alongside with him, and the other one fighting against him politically. So there was a reason for it. But I understand when I first started listening, because I started listening to the music before I ever saw the production, and when I learned that it was the same people, I was kind of thrown. But I'm so used to it now, and I understand the reasoning behind it. But yeah, that's why they did that.
Okay, and that actually makes kind of nice sense now. I appreciate that a bit more.
Yeah.
But overall, I did enjoy it. The songs were cool. It was funny. Yeah. Overall, I think I give it a 7.5, 8 maybe. 8 out of 10.
Cool.
I had a good time with it. I would
Yeah.
rewatch this actually. If someone was
Wow.
like, I never have seen Hamilton, I'd be like,
If
you
you
know
have
what?
a lot of time.
I'll watch it with you.
you would rewatch it on Disney Plus, or you'd want to go see it like in the theater?
No, I'd watch it on Disney Plus.
You wouldn't want to go see it in the theater?
See, I would rather go see it in the theater.
I would like to see
and
it
like
in the theater,
experience
but I
that.
also
I don't think I would ever watch it again on Disney Plus.
I would like to see it in the theater. I think that'd be cool, but I'm not going to pay for the tickets to go to it. I don't like it
paying
that
for the afternoon.
I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't pay for the tickets to go see it. I would rather. I already have Disney Plus. I'll just sit down and watch it with somebody else.
Classic
on my own,
Zoomer.
on my own, I wouldn't probably watch it again. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Will?
Yeah, so I lived in New York when this came out, so was very much like caught up in all the frenzy. I have been in and around musicals my whole life because my family loves them. but it's never really been like a thing that I have gravitated towards. I've seen a few things on Broadway, and they're always like pretty cool, but like not something that I am ever voracious about, or like I wouldn't say that I seek them out. This one was tricky because it came out and was so like insanely buzzy and hyped, and like everyone loved it, and I had a weird relationship to that because like as someone who your typical like white New York suburban teenager who loves hip hop, so for me seeing that amount of press and praise and like all types of people loving this thing that's rooted in a thing that I love and cherish, and like for it to take a Broadway musical to get people to appreciate hip hop always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. That's entirely a personal thing and isn't fair at all to the piece, but I think for that reason I've kind of never really like tried to watch it or see it. I did listen to it one time, probably like 4 years ago, just the once, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, like I get it. So I was excited to watch it because, and we were actually going to watch it before we even found out that you were going to guest Abby and bring it for us. So I was excited to watch it, and I mean, it's fucking amazing. Like there's no 2 ways around it. Like it's like a stunning piece of work. Marissa and I fucking loved it. I cried like a bunch of times.
I'm so glad. Oh my gosh.
It's a real fucking just a beast of a thing. Like the level of craftsmanship that goes into writing this entire thing and the performances. I mean, like, yeah, like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I don't know if I would watch it again, honestly, but that might just be because I don't want to ever not feel the way I feel about it right now. So yeah, I mean, I loved it. It's an easy 9 out of 10, and like I'm probably only not giving it a 10 because it's a musical and like it's just hindered by the form. That's not like really my bag, but like Jesus fucking Christ, like I don't know, like my dad growing up, my dad used to listen to opera music, and he would like sit and just like cry listen to opera, and I always like thought that was hilarious, but like here I am listening to this musical and I'm just like weeping at the talent of their singing.
Yeah.
Like not even about like the plot or the performances, but just like the sheer power of Angelica's voice in particular. Just absolutely fucking wrecked me like every single time. So yeah, I really loved it, and I'm very grateful to have seen it, and I'm very grateful that it's available to watch. You know, obviously I can't even imagine what it would be like to see it in person, especially with the original cast. I don't.
Mean, when I saw it in person at the end of the show, when we were all standing clapping, I was like ugly crying. Yeah. Like so many tears. I was so overwhelmed. Like, and for me, like it's so much. Like it's the music and the singing, but more so than that, it's like all the themes throughout it and how everything comes back and has double meanings and stuff. Like that's what I really love about it.
Yeah, and that's true. Like when you were explaining the double casting, like I didn't even think about the double casting in terms of a thematic reasoning. I just know that's a thing that happens in musicals sometimes. There's like people that double up. Also, like, why would you not use Daveed Diggs as much as you possibly can?
Yeah,
like,
he's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I don't really know how I'm going to talk about it because I just want to like listen to Angelica sing for 3 more hours. Like that's really that's like really all I care about. Yeah. So yeah, easy 9 out of 10. And Riss said 9 out of 10 also, if not 9.5. She was like, she loved it. She's been singing Hamilton for the last 2 days. Yeah. So yeah, big fans. Great. Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. It's like one of my all-time favorite musicals. I love what it stands for. I love the people in it, the voices, the themes. I just love it. And I can't even tell you how many times I've listened to that full album, like millions, I don't know, constantly in college. Yeah. That's all I would listen to in college. So I give it an easy 10 out of 10. I love it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm definitely
Or
gonna
nice.
appreciate the music more, like if I come over and it pops up on the Spotify playlist or whatever. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, hey, okay, I like it. Like, I'll be like, all right, yeah. Because before I'm
Trevor's
well,
like twerking to Hamilton.
let's
God.
go.
Yeah, I want to know. Wait, are we this? I mean, I'm assuming this is spoilers. It's American history, so it's kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Spoilers.
we'll enter the spoiler zone. I mean, it's not like, you know,
Yeah.
it's not super
It's
spoilers.
nothing
'cause
you
it's-
wouldn't have known from any.
Well, some people don't know a lot
I
of
mean,
history.
like the basic story of it.
Yeah.
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 I would just say you should really watch it. You can probably pretty easily get a free trial to Disney Plus if you don't already have it. So there's really no reason. I mean, it was a cultural event for a reason.
For
And
sure.
skepticism aside and enjoyment of musicals aside, I think it's worth at least experiencing one time because it's. I mean, Abby would be better suited to speak to this, but it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. So, yeah, big recommend.
And I know Lin-Manuel Miranda, when he wrote it, like he wrote over the course of like years to
Yeah.
write this musical because he cared so much about how it was presented, and he said like every line he wrote had to be his best line, every couplet he wrote had to be his best couplet, like
Yeah,
and
shows.
I think it shows a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
100%.
really good.
Yeah, it's astounding that he wrote
Yeah.
an entire 3-hour rap opera
Yeah.
about.
And I also read somewhere that like it's already like the Disney Plus version is 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I read somewhere if it had everything was the same, but it was structured not through rap but through like normal musicals, it would be like 6 hours long.
Yeah.
Because some of the words, like in Guns and Ships, I think the average was like 5 words per second. Like it allows you to tell so much more of a story, so much more through that medium than like Les Mis or something else that's like so much slower.
Yeah,
That's why that song's a banger.
Guns and Ships, I
Yeah.
know. I love it.
I don't know any of the names of the songs. Which one is Guns and Ships?
Guns and Ships is the one where Lafayette like has his super fast rap.
Yeah, he's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's great.
I know.
Fuck.
So,
Did you guys spoiler zone, but I just want to know if you guys had any favorite moments or favorite songs from the musical.
I have favorite characters. Can I say
Okay.
that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear.
Loved the king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
He's
king was great.
Hilarious. Just coming out. Oh man, he was hilarious.
Yeah.
George Washington's dope, and so is the guy that plays Lafayette and
Yep, the
Benjamin
VJs.
Franklin. Both of those characters are fantastic. I love the way he portrays them, and I love his raps are great,
Yeah,
especially
he's
the
amazing.
like the debate one, the couple
Yeah.
of times. Those are
Yeah,
I
the
love
debates
those.
were sick.
I know.
The
I love that
debates were
they're set
dope.
up as like rap battles. On the album, they're called Cabinet Battle #1 and Cabinet Battle #2.
They should be because that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then also Angelica, love her,
Yeah.
and also because she's the only actress I think other than Lin-Manuel Miranda, because I've seen him everywhere, especially back when you guys talked about him in college and stuff a bunch. It was like Lin-Manuel. I'm like, I don't know who that is, and then you guys were like, this man. I'm like, okay. But Angelica, I recognize because she is actually a major character in a show I like called Altered Carbon. She's one of the
Oh.
main characters.
No
yeah.
shit.
Cool.
I didn't know that.
Like I saw
The
her
only
come on
thing I
screen.
know
I'm
her
like,
in-
she is so familiar.
Yeah.
Where is she
the
from?
only thing I know her from outside of this musical is like, it was like a random comedy with, I think it was the one with Amy Poehler where she decides to like open a casino in her basement or something with her husband.
Oh, the
Oh,
house?
Yeah, I
The
think
house is classic.
I'm pretty sure she was a character in that movie, like a side character.
Huh.
Damn, that's awesome.
No,
I think that's it.
she's a pretty big character in that show. She's like the head of she appears pretty much only in flashbacks, but she's like the head of like the main character was like in a revolutionary group at one point, and she was the head of that and also his love
Oh, okay.
interest.
Cool.
Really good character too in that show. Season 2 sucks unfortunately, but
Rip.
watch season 1. I highly recommend it, and she's in it and she's great. Yeah. Just those were my 3 favorite characters.
Nice.
And all their moments were really good. I mean, Lin-Manuel's great, don't get me wrong, but Hamilton's Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I liked the King a lot. I didn't even know he was like a real big part of, or I guess he's really not a big part of it. He
Three
comes
songs.
comes in a couple of the songs, but he was hilarious.
He's really
He was
funny.
really
Amazing.
fucking funny.
Yeah.
The way he like captures the stage is super funny and like reacts to like the audience and stuff. I really liked his songs. I thought his voice was good.
Yeah, he's really
And I also liked the guy who played Hamilton's son, and then the other guy.
Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
He was really funny.
He's great. Yeah. He's
is
great.
The faces that he would make, even when he's just in the background, is
Yeah.
like it was so good.
And he's going to be actually playing Lin-Manuel Miranda's first musical, In the Heights, which is going to be a movie. He's playing the main character in the movie. of
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah.
That's fucking
Anthony Ramos
awesome.
is.
I didn't know
That's
that.
cool.
I knew
he's great.
I knew they were making a movie out of it, but I didn't know that he was going to be in it. That's fucking cool.
And then I also liked the sister of his wife. I forget.
Angelica?
Yeah,
Angelica.
yeah. She was great.
Yeah.
Her voice was amazing.
Yeah, her voice is amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I first listened to it, her voice was the one that captured me. But like over like the years that I've listened to it, I really love Eliza's voice. I
Yeah.
think, which is Philippa Sue. Her voice is so like beautiful and has like such a like sweetness to it almost. I mean, I'm sure that that's also like part of her acting because she's supposed to be that way. But I just love her voice in this. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing, like, I know the name Philippa Sue because of how much people spoke about her after this musical, like, popped off. But, I mean, Angelica, like, it's not even a comparison to me personally. Like, I am pissed that the Schuyler sisters aren't in this more. I'm pissed that Angelica is in London for the majority of the time. Like, I'd rather, honestly, watch a musical about her living in London by herself than this whole thing. I mean, the gravity that she has when she's on stage and is singing is just like absolutely fucking immense. Yeah, so she's definitely my favorite, despite how little she's in it. I think it's hard for me not to say Lafayette and Jefferson, just because I mean, Daveed Diggs is the only person I know outside of this film. He is actually a rapper. He's in a group called Clipping, CLPPNG period, that makes very abrasive and abstract hip hop, and it's like incredibly different, obviously, from this, and is not even really my bag, but like I appreciate it, and I will listen to it more now just because I want to get more of a feel for how he is as an artist. But I mean, his pure level of ability to rap is just like astounding, and to do it in a French accent is just like absurd. So yeah, he's awesome. I don't like the character of Hamilton. Like, the guy's kind of he's kind of a bastard. Like, Riss and I didn't really like him.
I thought that too.
Isn't he literally a bastard?
Yeah.
Sure.
They say it multiple times. He's literally a bastard.
Yeah, I didn't mean it that way, but yes, pun accepted. He's just like a really unlikable dude, and like I respect his grind and whatever, but I also it's hard for me to separate whether I don't like Lin-Manuel Miranda as much as an actor, or if it's just a character. And like obviously this is his brainchild, so I can't say that he's not talented, because first of all, it's just not true. But I mean, the thing is it's all him, which is unbelievable. But I found myself way more captivated when he wasn't the center of attention. I also don't love the way he raps, but that's just, rap nerd particularity, if that's a phrase. Who else? Aaron Burr was great. I love the recurring Aaron Burr, sir. I feel like we haven't mentioned him.
Leslie Odom Jr., who plays Aaron Burr, was the only main cast person who wasn't there the night that we saw it. We saw it with his understudy. He was like on vacation or something that week.
Oh, damn.
How was the understudy?
Sad.
He was great. He was great. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad. I don't remember his name, but he was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's wonderful. And honestly, like, I mean, this gets into the narrative aspects, I guess, but a lot of the time it seems like Aaron Burr is kind of the protagonist and Hamilton's the antagonist, despite how it's framed. At least that's kind of how
Aaron
how I
Burr
felt.
got fucked so many
fucked,
times.
dude.
He did. I mean, I feel like
he
it
got
was
set
more-
up like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
So
I feel like
many.
that was partially his fault, though, in my
it
opinion.
was. I think so too, because he
He never
I mean,
took a stand.
if you're going into politics and you're never going to say what you stand for, then that's not a good politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's
also
crappy. You gotta
modern
stand up for what you
politics.
believe in.
I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like modern politics is a mix of being the most extreme you can possibly be and also not really saying anything at all.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, I would say there's a place for people who are moderate as well. I mean, you don't
Oh, well,
always
sure.
need to have extreme people.
no,
Like, if
I hate
he's-
extremes.
you know.
I think he should
I
have
mean,
said
I don't
something.
actually know anything about the politics of Aaron Burr, but
I read a little bit of
um,
his history after finishing up this because I wanted to see what happened to him after the fact.
Yeah.
Because
Probably
we're well
got
into
shit
the,
on.
Yeah, we're definitely well in the spoiler zone now, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, like after he kills Hamilton, he gets forced out of the country essentially, and
Yeah,
he
but-
tries to start revolutions in Mexico, I think, as well as somewhere else, and then ends
He
up.
also tried to like get an uprising of the South and like separate as like starting that as a separate country. Like he was like, yeah, like he I don't know, he was crazy. And then at the end, I think he ended up going back to being just a lawyer, but like his political name was like ruined because he tried to like essentially start that like a fraction of the South again.
Tried
Yeah,
to secede.
and
Yeah.
he murdered Hamilton. So
That too, yeah.
Well, killed him in a duel, which is legal-ish.
I think at the time it was legal.
Well, they
but,
said.
like,
oh no, I was thinking of New Jersey when
Yeah,
they said
yeah,
everything
yeah.
was
It
legal, but
was
that
in
was
New
his
Jersey.
son. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They went back to
they
the
go
went
to
to the
New
same
Jersey
spot,
to
yeah.
do the duel.
Yeah.
But I think that it was like the kind of thing where like it just like it wasn't illegal, but it wasn't done as much anymore at the time of Aaron Burr and Hamilton's.
That makes sense.
duel.
I mean, you could tell the time passed because their clothes changed.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
My understanding.
They were wearing all the black dope suits with the weird cape thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it.
My understanding of duels from my little bit of extra knowledge of it, and also kind of they mention it in the play, is a lot of times after a certain period of time when people would get more civilized, it was like it was basically a way for you both to concede that you're not giving up your side, but they would almost always either fire way off to the side or straight up in the air, like
Yeah.
they were talking about in the play, because it was like neither one of them wanted to murder each other necessarily, but it was
You didn't want to straight murder someone in cold blood.
it was a way of going, I am not conceding my point, but I'm not going to kill you over it, kind of is what it
Yeah.
evolved into. And that's what I think it was supposed to be between Hamilton and Aaron Burr.
And his
But
son.
then they even mention in the song at that point, like he wore his glasses,
Yeah.
Hamilton.
And he was checking
so,
the trigger and everything.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, all the points were. I mean, it seemed like he was going to
But
shoot him.
Alexander Hamilton wore his glasses in other scenes in the musical.
Only towards the end, but that was when he was old,
Well,
I guess.
Yeah.
I think that was like part of the historical record as to why Burr
Yeah.
actually shot, was because those were the cues he picked up on.
I
That
think
like,
so too.
oh no, he's actually gonna shoot at me, and it was like, no, he's not. he's
Yeah, was Burr like not used to seeing him with glasses at that point or something? Like, did he get glasses only in his old age?
I guess so, because he made a point that he said, "Oh, he's wearing his glasses, and he's an expert marksman and all that." And
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm a terrible shot."
I think that's.
I think he just added that all up in his head, and he's like, "He's gonna shoot me."
I think he
Damn.
knew about the glasses. I think it was more the fact that like, if he wasn't planning on shooting, why would he bother to keep them on? I guess kind of
Yeah.
thing, which is an argument. But if he does wear them all the time just to see, then that's not an argument, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
Trevor, were those guns that they used period correct?
they seemed period correct to me.
I'm sure they are. They
Did
had
you-
like
did you check
historical
IMFDB?
consultants.
I did not check IMFDB. Because
Well, then what are you doing?
What are you doing?
You're sponsored.
I have
Resident
knowledge
gun
of my
expert.
Own brain.
God damn it.
Gun expert does not necessarily mean I am FDB looker upper. All right,
Yes, it
I have
does.
knowledge in here. All right,
Don't you work for them?
dude? That would be cool. I think they're like a wiki thing though, where like you don't actually work for
Ah,
anybody.
shoot.
You could weasel your way in. Get to the top.
That'd be kind of cool.
Very cool.
But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean they were flintlock pistols, man. That's about
Yeah, I'm
it.
just joshing you.
They're
Home.
dueling pistols as well. Dueling pistols are a very interesting thing if you ever look into those. That's kind
Yeah,
of
they're
cool.
sweet. They've brought them on Pawn Stars before.
Exactly. Yeah. It's cool things. Anyways.
But,
But I appreciate the call out right at the beginning because like it is history, so people do know the history of how things go down. But the call out right at the beginning with Aaron Burr in the opening song, like I'm the man that shot him,
Yeah.
or I'm the fool, or
I'm the
I forget
damn
what the
fool.
exact-
Damn fool.
I'm the damn fool that shot him, and I'm like, I appreciate calling out essentially the villain, air quotes, from the get-go, because it is a historical piece, so we do kind of know the overall story. But I also just like a story where they kind of start with letting you know straight up, this is the bad guy, and he's gonna be friends with the main character for a lot of this story. Well, friends, kind of.
Yeah.
And I do love a good call out like that. Like, certain stories really benefit from that, and I think this one definitely did. In the little, like, nitpicks and, like, the little just pecks that they had at each other throughout the entire story, where ultimately they were allies through most of it, but just they had their little like disputes. Just it was great. I loved it.
And I think that also, like, what you're saying about him, like, announcing at the beginning, like, I'm the bad guy, these people fought with him, these people, whatever, like, it's kind of part of, like, they step outside of the story a lot and, like, kind of talk, like, from modern times, like, how that happened, but also, like, Eliza is constantly talking about this narrative. She's always talking about how she wants to be a part of it, or she's going to remove herself from it. And even at the very end, Angelica says, all the other founding fathers' stories get told. So I kind of feel like, you know, they do that a lot throughout the story. Like, yes, this is them telling their story as it happens, but they're not trying to shy away from the fact that the audience already knows most of it, you know. The audience knows that this is historical. But yeah, I really like that part of it.
It was really cool.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the very end of it when Eliza steps up to the stage and, like, does this big gasp? Like, what did you think about that part? What did you think was happening? Because that wasn't written into the script, but every woman who's played Eliza has done that.
I wasn't sure what it meant. I'm not even going to lie.
No, yeah.
Like,
that's what I wanted to know, because there's people online that say different things.
Does that happen before she's...
And she...
Sorry, Trev, go.
No, you go.
Does that happen before she sings the song or after?
It's at the very end. Is the last thing that happens. They all sing the song, and then at the very end she gasps as she, like, looks up into the audience.
Feels like a dying breath at that point then, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah. I was too wrapped up in the song to even really notice. I was crying, so...
Okay, yeah. When I first listened to it, and then when I watched, because I didn't know that happened until I watched the production of it, that's what I assumed, because the whole thing is saying, like, when she meets Alexander again and how much she's done in her life. So it's like she's at the end of her life, and then she even finally sees Alexander again, and they, like, walk together towards the front of the stage, and then she gasps. So I always just assumed that was her final breath, and she finally sees God or heaven or Alexander, something like that. But there are people online that say maybe it's another instance of kind of breaking that fourth wall and looking out into the audience and seeing these are the faces of the people who are telling Alexander's story. Like, she physically sees the audience. You know?
That's not a bad interpretation either.
That's dope. I like that meaning.
I thought that was so cool. Yeah. I really didn't know that was something that people thought. But I think that's so interesting. That, like, the whole last song is called Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. And at the very end, here's Eliza Hamilton seeing that her husband's story is getting told.
Has the actress not said anything?
She has. She said that it's kind of just, she said sometimes it's death, sometimes it's this. She said it's just a moment of transcendence. It's kind of like what the audience wants to think it is. Like, it's just left open.
Up to interpretation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I dig that. I love
That's
open-ended endings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally just had no idea. I was like,
Yeah.
that was kind of weird. All right.
Well, I didn't realize that anyone didn't think that was dying, because to me that was, like, the most straightforward answer. But then I liked the idea, and I also like the idea somebody wrote, like, Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hamilton is leading her to see the audience. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda already said, like, this isn't true because it's not like him as himself, it's him as Hamilton. But, like, just the, like, meaning of, like, the person who wrote this story about a basically forgotten founding father leading his wife to the audience to see that his story is getting told, which is something she cared so much about, is, like, so cool to me that, like, some people took that from it, because that's not what I took.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is
awesome.
I do like that. Dang that. Yeah. it was cool. It was just a cool show. It was cool.
Cobb, thoughts?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you have been kind
You've
of
been a
quiet,
very much
yeah.
Will during an anime episode so far.
Well, I feel like I am not super well versed in theater and musicals, so like I don't.
And we
I
are.
don't want to. Well, I feel like you guys have more opinions about it than I do. I was kind of just like, I didn't like it as much as you guys, but I don't want to sound like ignorant because I don't know as many of like the intricacies about it. So I'm just, I don't have as much to say.
Did you like anyone?
Yeah, I already said who was my favorite earlier.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
Right?
You liked the king?
Yeah.
Who else?
The guy who plays his son and then and the other
Right. Anthony
character,
Ramos.
and then the lady who goes to London.
Yeah, Angelica.
I don't know any of their names.
Okay, what about favorite
that's
song?
funny.
Is it just Guns and Ships?
I like that song, and I like the rap battles that they do, and then I also like the every time the king comes on, I like his songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think my favorite song has, like, changed so many times as I've listened to the album over and over. Like, it was Guns N' Ship. It was Satisfied. But I think with this watching, at least, I mean, it could change tomorrow. But the ones that I liked the best were actually, like, two of, like, the slower, sadder songs. But it's Quiet Uptown, which is the song right when his son dies. And then the final song, Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story, which I've always liked that song. But I just think that it's Quiet Uptown I love so much because I think he did such a good job of writing, like they really lost everything, you know? Like, he just published this pamphlet that not destroyed their marriage, but, you know, like, he was cheating on her. Their son dies, and then they're at their lowest, and when they hold each other's hands and the whole, like, ensemble cast sings Forgiveness, I just think that is, like, such a good moment in this musical, that Eliza somehow finds it in her heart to forgive this man who has been not a good husband, who gave the guns to her son that inevitably killed him, and she still opens up her heart and still forgives him, and in the end still fights to tell his story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love it.
Yeah.
Why would she stay with him?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I wanted to get to that. Like,
I mean, she loved him. They had children together. You know.
Yeah.
I guess.
How many kids did they have? They had more than that one kid?
Yeah, they had more than that kid. I don't know how many, but
None of the other ones matter, apparently.
not in this musical, no.
Yeah,
Damn,
not
great for those other
narratively.
kids.
Who cares?
What's the song called where Angelica sings about being in love with him?
Satisfied.
Okay. That fucking song.
Yeah. So good.
It ended and Riss and I both just like looked at each other and we're just like crying. Like, fuck, man. Like,
Yeah.
I cry a lot. I cry a lot. So it's not really that big a deal for me, but she's not a huge movie crier and she was crying there and it was just like,
Yeah.
man, what an absolute fucking gut punch. And she rapped really fucking well on that song too.
Yeah. She did a good job.
God damn, that was so good.
Well, between this and last episode, we cry at very different things.
I know. I know. And I respect you
We
for
cry over very different.
I respect you for not yeah, I mean, because when you were saying you were crying in Gurren Lagann, I was like, how in the fuck is this making him cry? But like, yeah, like that's the beauty of art, man. It's just like
Gurren Lagann is fucking amazing, Will.
fuck off. Let's not.
We can't even bring that up in this episode. They're so different. Like, we can't even talk about that.
No,
but
it would be
I just had to
disrespectful.
point it out that, like,
it would be disrespectful to Abby to bring up Gurren Lagann in this episode because you're just gonna sour
that's
my
fair.
fucking
I just
mood.
had to bring it up.
Says you, Will.
I just had to bring up how different. Like, as soon as you said cry, I'm like, wow, we are very different human beings.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, that's the thing too, is like, I wasn't even crying about, I mean, obviously that's a very emotional song, but like, even when she sang in the Schuyler Sisters song, which also hugely underrated bop, we haven't mentioned that song at all, and that song is
That's an amazing
a
song.
fucking
That was also
banger.
one of my favorite songs for a while.
so good when they introduce
Most
each
all
other.
the songs are just really good.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Those two, I just love the Schuyler sisters. I think they're fucking awesome. But I cried in that first song, and there wasn't even any story. I was just crying because her voice was so powerful. Which again, is not really a thing that has ever happened to me too much. Like, but obviously my dad, you know, I guess it's from my dad being a fucking softie.
Yeah.
So.
Hereditary.
Yeah. For sure.
Very cool.
Yeah, I liked I liked it all. Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah.
I really like the rotating floor. Like, I have to point that out. That rotating floor that's all throughout.
That's cool,
like,
right?
The way they use it, because it's got the two circles that can move either independently or together. That was so cool, and the way they utilize it.
It's really cool.
My favorite part of my favorite utilization of that is, I think it's got. I know Eliza's on it, but I think somebody else was on it talking to him at first.
And then Eliza spins around and is now facing him.
And she's not facing him like at all up until she gets right to that point. And I'm like,
I can't think of what song that happened in, but I know what you're talking about. I love it.
Yeah.
I loved that. I was like,
I
saw her looking away. I was like, she's gonna end up looking right at him, isn't she? And then she did. I was like, oh, that was.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
that.
technical stuff like that. I'm sorry.
And the set designer, his name is David Corrins. He actually commented on my Instagram post once.
Oh, wow.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said that he did that because not only was it like, it's supposed to kind of be like a whirlwind when Hamilton is like being introduced to all these key players in the revolution and stuff, but also like that whole song about this is called Hurricane, but when he's talking about the hurricane that destroyed everything and he wrote his way out through everything, I think it's kind of supposed to be like symbolically like that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for that song especially, but just the way they use it throughout, I thought it was just really nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
It
I
was-
like in Say No to This when Mariah Reynolds is like walking in place on it, kind of, you know?
Yes.
Yep.
I
Because
like
it gives her
part.
that strut, but she's not like going away from the audience, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's such a cool, just subtle, not a prop, but I guess it's technically a prop that everyone gets to utilize, and it just makes so much more emphasis on certain actions. And I had to bring it up. Like it was my only starred note. Like I put that revolving floor is awesome, and then I like had to star it to make sure I talked about it. Like,
Yeah. I'm glad. Yeah, it's a
Amazing.
cool stage.
Yeah,
Very
speaking
cool
of the set direction, though, I was surprised that it really doesn't change, like, at all.
No.
They just bring in a couple, like, things. They bring in, like,
Yeah.
the chairs and, like, the lamp posts and the floor rotates and stuff. But, like, everything else stays exactly the
Yeah.
same.
I actually, and I didn't notice it when I watched it through, but I read that they, like, and that was done on purpose by David Corrins to, like, especially at the first half of the musical, to show like this country is being built, so it's kind of like industrial. It's got brick and scaffolding and like that kind of thing. And then they said in the second half that like the walls got higher or something. I didn't notice it at all.
I didn't either.
But that, I think, yeah, I didn't notice it. But they said that that's like to show like, oh, this country has grown and that kind of stuff. But I didn't.
I guess
see
I thought it was just a cool period, like kind of period looking set. Neat, the raw wood and brick and stuff. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
it's
but
cool
I kind of
looking.
expected, like, when they were in different places for it to change. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of, like, other plays, like when we went to go see, like, Book of Mormon, and everything
Yeah.
changes fucking drastically. whenever they go to different places, like when they go to hell or
Yeah.
Orlando or
The
whatever.
spooky Mormon hell dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just,
Um,
that speaks to the power and the quality of the writing of the show, that you don't even
Yeah.
like. I didn't even fucking think about the set, and like obviously those are usually a huge part of every musical that I've seen, at least. And I didn't even think about it until you just brought it up. So that again, that just like, yeah, it's
Yeah. I mean, I thought about it, but I wasn't nearly as captivated as you were.
yeah, trying to find things to focus on.
Yeah, other than the clock, I was trying to find
Oh
things
my
to focus
God.
on.
What's the oh, Jesus, the actual clock?
I could tell that he didn't like it too, because we weren't going to talk about it before we recorded the episode. But I could just tell he was like fidgeting so much and like moving around so much on the couch. I was like, he hates it.
I feel like that's like everyone's thought. Like before we start recording, it's like everyone hated this.
Oh, I was prepared that nobody was gonna like it because I didn't think any of you were huge musical people, so I was like,
I thought Will was gonna hate it because he fucking told me he hates musicals.
I am so
Will
pleasantly
fucking liar.
surprised that Will loved it. I'm so happy that he loved it.
Don't
Oh
dab
my
on
God.
me, you piece of shit.
See, that's what I'm saying. I agree with Will's opinions in the episode.
Yeah.
Still stands.
That's I smiled at that because I was like, hell yeah, because I knew I was coming in with a good review.
Yeah.
Is there much history for musicals being turned into film or like having film versions? Because I think a lot of the, I guess like, I mean, literal like barrier for entry about musicals is like they're so hard to see, and like especially
Yeah.
if you're not, you know, in New York or you don't have a bunch of disposable income, it's like they're really inaccessible. So are there other like good versions like this?
Well, there are a lot of musicals that are movies, but not so much like filmed on the stage, like just filming a production. Like it's like a movie adaptation of a musical.
Yeah.
The only ones that I can think of are like super old musicals that I used to listen to when I was a kid, which was like My Fair Lady and The Music Man. Those kind where like I'm assuming there was a theater production first before the movie, but I'm not really even sure which one was first. But I'm pretty sure in those cases it's the musical, like the theater.
Sometimes they also do like I know AMC has like Fathom events
that's
where they
true.
like will sometimes be theater. It'll be plays and stuff that they'll show that have been recorded.
Yeah.
I've never went to one.
No.
I didn't even know when they were showing, but they would play in the previews.
Yeah.
They were like Fathom event coming to you.
Yeah. But those would be like ballets or like operas, like you
Yeah.
know, but I mean still productions.
It's people
but,
on stages is
yes,
what I'm talking
people
about.
on stages, yeah.
They're on a stage. It's all the same thing.
They're on a
right?
stage. I was like, get to the thing. I'm trying to watch freaking Tom Cruise or something.
Big shout out to
Oh
The
my
Music
God.
Man and My Fair Lady. Those are both
They're great.
banger ass musicals.
Oh, yeah, I love
I
them.
love Music Man.
Oh good.
I
me
was
too.
in a high school production of The Music Man.
Who were you?
Nobody. I was a part of the
Oh.
marching band, but I
Okay.
like dressed up and was like on the stage, and I mean it was terrible. I hated every second of it because I am still getting over decades of stage fright. But
Wait, so now this
Yeah,
fucking guy
I
was
was
in a musical, but before musical was his least favorite medium, and he fucking hated them in quotes. And he said, "Why'd you bring Rocket Man?" in quotes. So
when did
you
say
know
that?
what? Don't
talking
fuck
about-
yourself, Will.
And now he's talking about he loves these other two
Yeah,
musicals.
he's like,
I've
all these
never even
musicals are
heard of."
great. Actually, I'm kind of like an auteur, Abby. I don't know if you knew this. I'm holding wine. Fuck you, dude.
You can't see it, listen to the podcast, but on my screen underneath my face, I have a.
Dude's got a chalice.
Well, no, what the fuck? I'm trying to think. Like, what is it? Like a title card, a placard.
lower third?
If it like my little name is like right here, and it's like, it says I'm William Stickles and I'm a fucking musical auteur. That's what it says. That's a really convoluted way to explain a very terrible fucking.
It was a lower
bit,
thirds.
but
Lower third.
I have
Yeah.
that there. Shout out to my film people right there. Lower third, classic lower third. Abby, what are your favorite musicals beyond Hamilton?
Everything Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much just In the
In the
Heights
Heights
and
in
Hamilton,
this, yeah.
which is true. I do
Yeah.
love both of those
Still got
musicals.
to see In the Heights.
Yeah, I know. When it comes out, they had to delay the movie because of all the COVID stuff. but
Rip.
When it comes out, I'm definitely gonna see it.
Same.
I also love this musical called The Last 5 Years. There's a movie. Oh well, there's also a movie of that one with Anna
that's what I was
Kendrick
thinking of.
and Jeremy Jordan. So good. It tells their love story, but each song is from one of their point of views, and they're on different timelines. So at the beginning of the movie, the girl is heartbroken that they're not together, and the guy is just falling in love. And at the end of the movie, the girl is in love, and the guy has just left.
Like 500 Days of Summer.
It's 500 Days of Summer,
But the opposite.
Well, 500 Days of Summer is kind of like just like more random little days. Is that so much like opposite timelines?
I don't know.
It's not.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the antagonist in that movie.
Manic Pixie
he's not
Dream
a good
Girl,
dude in that
Zoe
movie.
Deschanel.
Right?
It's one of my favorite movies, but it's,
I know, yeah.
he's not like, when I watched it when I was younger, I was like, wow, Summer Flynn is not a good person. And then when I watch it when I'm older, I'm like, wow, this guy needs to fucking chill.
Also, while we're getting some rapid fire Abby knowledge, can
Yeah.
you tell us why you thought Rocket Man wasn't a musical?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
Because like, when
Jeez.
he asked me, I didn't remember. I couldn't
know.
remember how to explain
Rocket
it.
Man is so weird because I'm like, every reason that I have for it not being a musical, I can think of a musical with that same thing. So I was like, oh,
That's
well,
fine.
the music wasn't written for, like, theater. It was just, like, rock music, but there have been other musicals like that. There's one about, I think, Carole King's life, which I'm sure has her songs. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Doesn't feel like
it
one.
just doesn't feel like one, you know? I'm not sure. It just kind of felt
That's
like,
totally
it's
fine.
just a musical biopic, but I wouldn't say it's a biopic musical. Like, what it is a biopic with music.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I don't have a good reason, though, and I'm
said-
probably wrong, so.
No, that's
Was it
that's
me?
a great
Or which one
reason.
of us said that they didn't think it was a musical either, or they did, or I forget.
think
I thought it
Trevor-
was a
We had-
musical.
Yeah, I think
I think it was you, Trevor.
Trevor, yeah, I think Trevor said,
Me?
yeah.
I can't remember. I can't
my
remember. It was a
God.
while ago, man.
Trevor's on his fucking 18th bush apple.
Just high on
This is my-
wood glue fumes.
He's doing some woodworking.
You know what? That maybe, but no, like, dude, I gotta ration these bush apples, man. They only made them for like 5 days.
But yeah, do you have any other musicals that you really loved or would recommend for people that also love Hamilton? Because I feel like there's a
Well-
lot of people out there that just love Hamilton
Yeah.
and haven't really.
I mean, here's the thing.
Dived into it.
If you're not a musical person, like Jacob, you won't like these probably, because it's just...
Not Will. He is a musical person.
Yeah, Will loves musicals.
It's just
Heel
it's gonna
turn.
be. I think it'll be different. Like if I showed you the last 5 years of the movie, for
Yeah.
instance, it's not like they filmed a theater production. It's a movie where they sing.
Yeah. So I would
So-
probably like it more.
So you'd probably like it more.
Like I loved Grease
But
when you showed
oh my
it to
God,
me.
Grease is ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it's still gonna be a story told through song.
Yeah.
I think the last 5 years is great. I also love Something Rotten, which is like a really funny musical about Shakespeare and like a guy who wants to be as good as Shakespeare, like a playwright. It's very funny.
Oh right, you always play me that one song.
Yeah, I do. And
What is
then
it called again?
It's a musical.
It's a musical.
It's
That's
a
a fucking
really-
great song. You guys should look up that song.
It's really funny because it's just
Talking
making
about how they hate musicals.
yeah, it's just making fun of musicals the whole time.
Uh,
I'm trying to think. Let me pull up my. I have a Broadway playlist. So let me see what other shows are on there that I'm really liking.
yeah, this is good.
So while you're
'cause-
looking that up, I do want to mention something real
Yeah.
quick about this. So Abby mentioned earlier how if this was like written like a traditional musical, it would have been like what, 6 hours long?
Yeah,
or
something like that. Like at the pace of it.
So-
yeah.
I feel like that the reason that like I usually when we do stuff, I have like a ton of notes, and I feel like the reason I only have 1 page of notes for this is thinking back. If they didn't do the music portion of it, this would have been like 30 minutes. I think this would have been really short if they hadn't, like, if it was not all the songs and everything. It was just them telling the story.
So you
I feel
mean
like
like
this
a
would have been
history
really
book?
short.
You mean like not at all a musical at all?
Yeah. Still, no, it's yeah. I guess.
You mean okay?
I guess, but like that's I think my reasoning for it not being so long is that there's not really notes you can take while they're singing. You can take notes about a couple of the lines, but then a lot of those lines get repeated and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
I do.
Yeah,
I get it.
I- Thanks, man.
We had a similar thing. Like for the first, I would say, 30 minutes, we had no fucking idea what was going on because the sheer amount of information that is crammed into those opening songs. I mean, it happens pretty much throughout the entire production, but I think you get kind of acclimated to like paying attention to certain things. But like,
No, I still have
it's
no idea
really-
what's going on.
yeah, okay, well there you go. So like it was really hard to follow, and like I'm not a big history guy, like, so a lot of this shit was new to me, or like just stuff that I knew tangentially. So like plot wise, me and Riss were just like, what the fuck is happening? Like I mean, this is awesome, but I have no idea what's happening. But I think that speaks to the fact that it would be a 6-hour sung musical, if that's a term. But just because the sheer amount of information you can pack into a rap song is just like fucking bananas, especially when David is rapping.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've come up with more musicals, just so you know.
Good.
Please.
Also,
That was my one little thing.
I love
Just-
Spring Awakening, which actually the guy who plays the king in Hamilton was in the
Jonathan
original Broadway
Groff.
cast. Yep, Jonathan Groff. He was in the original Broadway cast of Spring Awakening. That one is so good. I've also just started listening to the Mean Girls musical because my friend and I saw that like probably a few months ago. That one's pretty good too. It's very funny. But yeah, I think that my favorite musical is In the Heights because I listened to that one growing up and it just has a special place in my heart. But Waitress, Last 5 Years, Hamilton, those are all pretty close. And Something Rotten. I do
Cool.
love Something Rotten.
Yeah, because
Is the Mean Girls? Oh, sorry.
No, Trev, go. Yours is relevant.
Did the Mean Girls musical get made after the fact? And was it also made?
Yeah.
Okay, was it also made by Tina Fey? Didn't she make Mean Girls?
Yeah, she was a producer on it.
Oh, okay. Just
Yeah.
curious. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the movie, but they take some liberties, like some plots of the story are different, but it's pretty much the same general.
I mean, anytime
story.
you adapt something from one medium to the other, you have to take some liberties to make it work for the new medium. Like
Yeah.
why a book can't be a direct translation to a screen.
No.
Like,
disagree.
when did it come out? Did they like try to modernize it more or something? Because I mean, the
You
movie came out in like the early 2000s now,
Let me see.
right?
Just real quick, Trevor,
I mean, that says 2018.
the Thomas
Oh,
Pynchon book,
2018.
Oh yeah, so that's pretty.
the
recent.
Thomas Pynchon book Inherent Vice and the P.T. Anderson movie Inherent Vice are almost 1-to-1. Incredible.
Almost, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's as 1-to-1 as you can get adapting a Pynchon novel. I think it's the best. It's the best. The fucking best.
I don't want anything to change. Don't get me wrong. When I
Yeah.
see like a book translated to a movie, I don't want any changes. But I appreciate that some changes do have to be made depending on the story itself. There's some things that just don't translate right to screen if you tried to do it, so that you have to take some liberties, but there's other stuff like the Percy Jackson books. That's my biggest pet peeve of all time, is that those movies
Freaking Percy Jackson.
those movies screwed up those books so bad.
Never seen him.
Never read them.
The books are great. The movies
Never
are
read
terrible.
him either. Yeah, no.
The movies are literally like the worst adaptation I think I've ever seen from anything.
Isn't that
ever.
just Harry Potter fanfic?
No. No, it's not. Anyways,
Lightning
moving
Bolt
on.
Scar, Lightning Thief.
No, there's no lightning bolt.
Come on.
They both have characters named Voldemort, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
definitely true. Yep.
They both take place at Hogwarts. Trevor, what are you
Yeah,
talking
come on,
about?
Trevor, you sound really dumb right
Get
now.
off those
no.
fucking bush apples, dog.
Never.
Anyway,
They're delicious.
Thank you for humoring that question, Abby, because my knowledge of musicals, I think, is like really stodgy and old. Like, my parents are old, so I know like a lot of like the My Fair Lady Music Man type shit. I don't really.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. That's what I grew up
Yeah,
on.
I don't have like a ton of frame of reference for like what is a popular musical in the last 20 years besides Hamilton or Book of Mormon. So I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a good amount of musicals. I would say like I saw Wicked, and then
I love Wicked.
we have a family friend named Lynn Ahrens, who she like wrote the lyrics for Ragtime and Once on This Island and Seussical.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so her and her music partner Stephen Flaherty, like I think she worked with my dad in advertising like back in the 60s or 70s, so I saw like a bunch of her stuff because we knew her and felt that it was important to go see her shit. But I was like 10 and I don't fucking care. Like I gotta go all the way to fucking Manhattan and sit in the fucking theater for 4 hours and then drive back. I just remember playing fucking Game Boy in the car. You know, that was all I remember. So, yeah. So I was
What were
just
you playing?
God, there was a fire ass wrestling game on Game Boy Advance that I really loved. It had something to do with. It's like Impact.
Was it WWC versus NWO?
No, it was a knockoff. It didn't have any like real deal WWE guys. So
Because that game was the fucking bomb on the N64.
yeah, I wouldn't know. My first system was a 360, so I was like a Game Boy, like budget ass PC gamer until I was 15. But probably either the wrestling game,
Come back to us, Will.
or like Tony Hawk. The Game Boy Tony Hawk ports were pretty solid. I was big into those.
All right.
Anyway,
Hamilton episode.
yeah.
Hamilton.
Yeah, you got any other stuff about Hamilton?
I got like a little fun fact
Yeah.
that the scene where Eliza comes in to tell Hamilton that Lawrence died, the letter from his dad, that is the only part of the musical that's not on the cast album. It's not a recorded song. I didn't know why, but I read that Lin-Manuel Miranda basically said that he liked it when he was a kid. He would listen to a cast album and then he'd go in and there'd be things he didn't know happened. But with this musical, everything is song. There's no real like dialogue.
Yeah.
So he wanted to keep that as like the only thing that's actually like a little scene, and that's the only one that's not on the album.
That's pretty cool. I dig
right.
that.
Yep.
That's a good throwback.
Also, actually, other fun fact I didn't think about it. Speaking of Something Rotten, before it was on Broadway, it was at a theater called The Public, and when it was there, the person who played the king was Brian Darcy James, who is a main character in Something Rotten.
All right.
That's my other fun
Word.
fact.
I will say the fact that every bit of dialogue in this was sung mildly annoyed me. I guess I was like waiting for like, is someone just gonna speak at some point? Like, are we gonna get anyone to just talk and not sing everything? And I didn't
Nope.
even recognize. Like at that point in this like production, I guess turned it off at that point that I wasn't hearing any dialogue. Everyone was singing everything, so I don't even remember that wasn't actually wasn't kind of. Was it still sung a little bit though? It still
I think
felt
it was like, I think it was kind of talked a little bit, maybe like a little singy. I don't know. Maybe a little bit both. But it wasn't that, sorry, he didn't mean to say like that's the only dialogue. He just meant to say that's the only part that's just not on the album. That's the only like scene, because everything else is like song. But that's not really a song. That's just like a little cut. That's a little scene. I think that's more what he meant, not so much like dialogue versus song.
Okay. Because my only experience with musicals has been like movies that are musicals where it's dialogue and then song about dialogue and then dialogue again.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting every single thing to be sung, and I was a little surprised actually about that. It was. I guess I grew to like not. I was at first I was like, okay.
You just have to get used to it.
I think I got used to it by the end, but
Yeah.
I was that was very different.
Yeah, some
for me.
musicals are like that. I think Les Mis is also all song. I don't think there's any dialogue in it. But it just depends. Some have dialogue, some don't.
Is the movie like that too?
I don't remember. I saw the movie so
I
long
think
ago.
I
I'm
think
not
they do
sure.
sing the entire movie. I haven't seen it, but I remember hearing about.
Yeah.
about
I've seen like a scene, and I think they were singing in that. So it was kind of
that's
weird.
pretty
Remember
much
it came
the
out
whole
the
like a
same
riot.
night as Django Unchained, and I went to go see Django instead.
Django.
Because I remember there was a huge line
that
for Les
movie.
Mis.
Yeah.
And we were like, what are you guys going to see? And they were like, Les Mis. And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because like the
Yeah.
thing says Les Miserables or
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, what's this fucking nerd talking about?
Oh my God. Yeah, I would have been that person in line. I saw it right
They
when
were
it came
theater
out,
kids.
And it was just me and a bunch of kids from my drama class, and we all went together to see it.
It was me and the boys seeing Django on
Great
Christmas
movie.
Day.
Quick shout out to Jonathan Groff. I need to like see more stuff that he's in. He's in Mindhunter, the David Fincher
Yeah.
Netflix show.
Oh,
Where
cool. I've heard of
he's
that.
like a it's about the detectives who like establish searching for serial killers essentially, and like who learn about they like go and interview serial killers in prison to like learn why they do this or whatever. It's incredibly fucking dark, and I haven't finished it, but he's the main character in it, and it's really hilarious to see him like in this setting because he's so like very different, obviously, in that show. And I know
Yeah.
Riz knows him from Glee too. She loves him on Glee.
Yeah, I was about to say he's in
Yeah,
Glee.
he was.
Actually, he was in Glee with Leah Michele, and Leah Michele and him were stars of Spring Awakening.
Oh,
together
I didn't know
in the
she was
original
in Spring Awakening. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. The King shit. Like I laughed so hard every time he came on screen. Like he's just so
Yeah.
funny, and the writing of those songs in particular was really great. Like I thought that it did a really good job of portraying that whatever the fuck. It just started raining,
Yeah.
and I forgot what I was saying. So sorry.
And I also just want, because we haven't talked about him, but I just want to shout out Christopher Jackson, who plays George Washington, because he was also in The Heights. He was like Lin-Manuel Miranda's character's best friend in The Heights. I love him. I think he has such a good voice.
Yeah.
I think he's so talented, and we haven't talked about him, so I just wanted to say shout out Christopher Jackson.
Yeah, he's really wonderful too. I need to see In the Heights.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I guess I have to wait for the movie. But
Or you can just listen to the music.
Yeah.
The music's on Spotify.
true, I have friends who love it.
There you go.
So awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, there you go. Another
one
one.
of my notes was okay. Well, yeah, one of my notes was that George Washington is really cool. So
Yeah.
that's like I just wanted to say that I liked him. I did like him a lot.
Yeah, he was dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's cool. And then in the song where he's saying goodbye, that the speech that he's giving is real. It's like his real lines from his farewell address. They didn't like write that.
Damn,
That's
awesome.
cool. I appreciate that
Mhm.
a lot.
But yeah,
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other fun facts. That was it.
they were
Right on.
great. Everything was great.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for bringing Hamilton.
Yeah,
I
the
finally
first
got to
musical
see it
episode
now.
and
Yeah.
the first guest episode.
Yeah, really.
Thank you so much for coming on, Abby.
Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah.
it. It was great.
Thanks for listening and thanks for watching and approaching it with an open mind. I know you guys aren't musical people, but
Except for Will.
except for Will.
Yeah.
Will loves musicals.
Will is a big music buff.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy, musical buff.
That's my big heel turn for the pod. I'm secretly a musical
I've
guy.
become an anime boy, and Will's become a musical boy.
I'll
This
take
podcast.
I'll
What
take
am I going to
musicals.
become? I haven't hated anything. Really,
You're already
You're
in.
just still
You're already
a
in your
gun-toting
final form,
cowboy,
bro.
my dude.
You're already in your final form, Trevor.
No, I need more forms. I got to get more powerful.
Or I am FTV weeb.
Don't worry, we'll combine.
Yeah.
I am FT. Oh, that just sounds like I'm the worst kind of human.
Everyone knows that's not the case. Awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Do they? I don't know about that. I think you guys think that too.
All right, pull up, Trevor. Pull up, Trevor.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Abby, for being on the
Yeah,
podcast.
thanks for
Thanks,
having
Abby.
me.
And we'll catch you guys for the next episode where I bring my pick. So see you guys in the next episode.
Goodbye.
Bye.